High in the misty mountains of northern Vietnam, an old farmer climbs a path he has walked for 40 years. On these forgotten cliffs, where almost nothing should grow, he has built a secret orchard of red pomegranates that the world has never seen. What he plants here will feed 3 generations of his family. But the mountain hides a story far more beautiful than anyone could imagine. Stay with me until the very end. High in the mountains of northern Vietnam, the sun rises over a hidden valley of red pomegranate trees. An old farmer steps out at dawn, his weathered eyes taking in the land he has loved for decades. He climbs the steep mountain trail with steady steps, the morning mist parting before him. He kneels and lets the rich red soil fall through his fingers, knowing this earth holds great promise. For years he has searched for the perfect place, and at last he has found it on this terrace. With careful steps, he measures every meter of the land where new life will soon take root. He drives wooden stakes into the ground, marking where each pomegranate tree will one day stand. The stakes rise like quiet promises across the terrace, lined up in patient rows. From above, the marked terraces look like the bones of a future orchard waiting to live. The survey is complete, and now the real work of his life can finally begin. On his strong back, he carries heavy baskets of compost up the steep mountain path. He pours the dark, rich compost over each marked spot, feeding the soil before it gives. His old hoe breaks the hard earth open, releasing the smell of warm, living ground. Each strike of the blade is steady, rhythmic, the sound of a man who knows his work. He tills row after row, turning the soil deep so young roots will find their way. With practiced hands, he mixes the compost into the soil, blending strength with sweetness. The black compost and red earth become one, a new bed prepared for new lives. He digs each planting hole with care, never too shallow, never too deep. The hole is perfect, ready to cradle a young tree as a mother cradles her child. He fills each hole with mountain water, letting the earth drink before the planting. The water vanishes into the soil, soaking deep where the thirsty roots will follow. He lays down a soft blanket of natural mulch to protect the moisture below. From above, the prepared field stretches wide, every hole waiting for its tree. At the small mountain nursery, he greets the young saplings, each one full of promise. He inspects every leaf, every stem, choosing only the strongest to make the long journey. He lifts a healthy young sapling, its roots thick and white, ready for the open sky. One by one, he loads the saplings onto his cart, careful, as if they were children. The cart climbs the winding mountain path, carrying tomorrow and Appo's orchard on its back. Beside each prepared hole, he places a sapling, lining them up with quiet pride. With gentle fingers, he eases the first sapling out of its plastic pot. The roots are healthy, eager, already reaching for the new life ahead. He kneels and lowers the first young tree into the waiting earth. He turns it slowly, finding the exact angle where the sun will love it best. With both hands, he pulls rich soil around the trunk, anchoring the tree to its new home. He firms the soil gently, pressing without crushing, holding the sapling steady. He pours fresh water at its base, and the orchard in Appo's first heartbeat begins. The water sinks into the roots, carrying with it the farmer and Appo's hopes and prayers. Sapling by sapling, the empty land begins to fill with quiet, living green. At midday, his wife climbs the path, bringing warm rice and a kettle of tea. They sit together in the shade, sharing tea the way they have shared a lifetime. The simple meal tastes of effort, of mountain air, of love that has lasted long. Refreshed, they return to the field, working side by side, as they always have. She digs while he plants, and the orchard grows from 4 hands instead of 2. Together, their hands shape the future, one young tree at a time. By evening, neat rows of saplings stretch across the mountain, fragile but full of life. He drives a strong support stake beside each young tree, giving them something to lean on. He ties each sapling gently to its stake, letting it stand without forcing it. At last, the planting is finished, and the mountain breathes with new green life. The next morning, dew glitters on every leaf, the orchard sparkling like jewels. Each dewdrop catches the dawn light, a tiny lantern hanging from the leaves. He walks the rows slowly, greeting each young tree as if it were a friend. He cups a leaf in his palm, looking for any sign of trouble. He carries clay jars of mountain water from sunrise until the sun is high. He waters each tree by hand, giving exactly what it needs and no more. The water finds the roots, and the young tree grows a little stronger each day. To save his strength, he begins to build an irrigation system out of bamboo. Cool mountain water flows through the hollow bamboo, finding its way down the slope. The bamboo drips slowly, giving every tree a steady, gentle drink. Joint by joint, he connects the pipes, building a quiet river above the soil. He opens the flow and watches the first water reach the farthest tree. He bends low to pull weeds from between the rows, never letting them steal the soil and oppose as strength. He tugs each weed up by the root so it cannot return next week. The pulled weeds are not wasted. He carries them off to the compost pile. Behind his hut, he builds a sturdy compost bin from old wood and bamboo. Layer by layer, he builds the compost, mixing green with brown, water with air. When the compost is ripe, he spreads it as fertilizer around each young tree. He shapes a perfect ring of fertilizer at every base, feeding the roots without burning them. He prunes away weak branches with quick, confident cuts, helping each tree grow stronger. The blade slices clean, leaving a smooth wound that the tree will easily heal. He gathers the pruned branches into a neat pile, every part of the orchard kept tidy. He sprays a soft mist of neem oil to keep harmful insects away from his trees. The fine mist coats every leaf, a natural shield made by the mountain itself. He mixes the next batch with patient hands, using only what nature already gave him. A red ladybug lands on a leaf, the first of his tiny natural helpers. The good insects begin to do their work, eating the bad ones for him. He weaves a traditional straw scarecrow with old clothes and a wide bamboo hat. The scarecrow stands among the trees, its arms wide, watching over the orchard. Soft mountain rain begins to fall, blessing the field with what no man can buy. Heavy raindrops bounce off the green leaves, and the soil drinks deeply. The farmer lifts his face to the sky and smiles, grateful for the gift from above. When the rain ends, a bright rainbow arches over the orchard, like a promise kept. He walks the rows after the rain, checking the soil for damage and balance. He mounds extra soil around the trunks, helping the trees stand firm. As winter comes, he wraps each young trunk in straw to keep it safe from the cold. The straw hugs each trunk like a warm coat, holding back the bite of winter. On a frozen winter morning, the orchard sleeps under a quiet white frost. He still walks his rows in the cold, never letting his trees feel forgotten. When spring returns, he gently removes the winter wraps, freeing each tree to breathe again. And then, on a warm morning, he sees them, the very first flower buds. A single tight bud begins to open, color showing through like a secret being told. The trees have grown taller now, no longer saplings but young, hopeful trees. From the air, the orchard shines with new green leaves, a small forest of his own making. And then one morning, the whole orchard bursts into bloom, red flowers everywhere. He stands among the blossoms, his eyes shining, his heart full beyond words. A single pomegranate flower opens fully, its petals bright as a flame. Up close, the flower and oppose. As golden stamens reach for the sun, full of promise. A honeybee lands inside, dusting itself with the pollen the orchard depends on. The bee carries that golden dust from flower to flower, joining each tree to the next. He sets up gentle beehives at the edge of the orchard, inviting the bees to stay. The bees pour out in a soft, busy cloud, ready for the day and oppose's work. He opens a hive carefully and inspects the frames, checking on his small partners. Inside the comb, golden honey shines, a sweet gift in return for their work. The bees dance from flower to flower, never resting, never rushing. Bright butterflies join them, painting the air with quiet color. A blue butterfly settles on a single petal, weightless and still. He writes down everything in his old leather journal, never missing a detail. His handwriting fills the page, careful notes from years of patient learning. For trees the bees cannot reach, he pollinates by hand with a small soft brush. He moves from flower to flower, gently helping nature finish its work. At sunset, the orchard glows red and gold, every blossom catching the last light. He stands quietly among the flowers, thanking the mountain in his heart. Petals begin to fall, and where each flower stood, a tiny green fruit appears. The very first small pomegranate forms, no bigger than a fingertip. He calls his wife, and together they marvel at the first fruit of a new season. She touches the tiny fruit with her fingertip, smiling like a young woman again. Soon clusters of small fruits crowd every branch, the orchard ready to ripen. He feeds the trees once more, giving them strength to carry their growing weight. He drives stronger stakes into the ground, ready to support the heavy harvest to come. He builds extra braces under the largest branches, knowing the fruit will only grow heavier. Week by week, the orchard transforms, the green fruits slowly turning a deep, glowing red. Soon the whole orchard burns with red, every tree heavy with shining pomegranates. He walks slowly through his bounty, hardly believing what his hands have grown. He lifts a single magnificent pomegranate, perfect, round, and bright as a sunset. Up close, the deep red skin shines, marked with the small bumps of ripeness. Some branches bend low under their heavy load, almost touching the ground. He gently lifts a heavy branch, lightening its burden with his own hand. He ties extra supports to keep the branches from breaking under their gift. He lifts a perfect fruit toward the sun, his face full of pure, simple joy. Birds begin to circle the ripening fruit, drawn by the sweet smell on the wind. He covers the most prized fruits with light protective mesh, sharing only what he can spare. Inside the soft mesh, the fruit hangs safe, ripening at its own gentle pace. Golden afternoon light pours through the orchard, every leaf glowing. A single dewdrop clings to a ripe fruit, holding the whole sky in one small bead. He chooses a fruit and gently presses, listening for the deep, full sound of ripeness. He compares one ripe fruit with another, learning their secrets one by one. At last, he holds up a perfectly ripe pomegranate, the prize of the season. He breaks one open, and inside, the seeds shine like 1,000 tiny rubies. His grandchildren run up the path, their small voices filling the orchard with laughter. A little child reaches out and touches the magic fruit with wide, careful eyes. Wonder fills the child and Apo's gaze, the way it once filled the farmer and Apo's long ago. The grandfather lifts his grandchild high, so she can pick a fruit of her own. 3 generations stand together in the orchard, their hearts beating as one. The very first fruit of the season is given to the youngest hand, as is right. Small hands hold the heavy bounty, learning what the earth can give to those who care. At sunset, the family walks home together, baskets full, hearts even fuller. Dusk paints the orchard in soft pink and violet, the trees resting after a long day. At night, the orchard glows beneath the moon, the fruits like dark jewels in the silver light. The farmer walks through the moonlight with a lantern, checking on a single bright fruit. At dawn, mist drifts among the heavy branches, the harvest just one day away. He stands at the edge of his orchard, looking out, ready at last to take the harvest in. Harvest day begins under a clear, fresh sky, and the whole mountain feels alive. He sharpens his harvest shears slowly, the way his father once taught him to do. He tests the blade against his thumb, careful, exact, ready. His whole family climbs the path to help, their voices lifting through the trees. Together they put on their hats and pick up their baskets, ready for a long day. The family spreads out across the orchard, each finding their own row to start. He cuts the first fruit of the day with a single, clean, gentle snip. The shears close cleanly, and the fruit falls free into his waiting hand. He catches each fruit softly, never letting it bruise against the ground. One by one, the pomegranates fill the basket, deep red on woven bamboo. His wife reaches up to harvest the higher branches, light and quick on her feet. His son carries heavy baskets down the rows, smiling at the weight he gladly bears. His daughter sorts the fruit, separating the largest from the rest with practiced hands. She lines them up by size, the family and Apo's harvest taking shape under her care. The grandchildren bring fresh water and tea, proud to help in their own small way. The whole family sits together in the shade for a simple, joyful meal. After lunch, the work begins again, and the baskets keep on filling. From above, the harvest looks like a slow, patient dance across the red orchard. Sweat shines on the farmer and Apo's brow, the honest mark of a day well spent. The baskets pile higher and higher, more bounty than they have ever gathered before. He looks at the harvest with quiet awe, every fruit a small reward for years of work. A single basket overflows with pomegranates, far more than anyone could carry alone. At a stream, they gently wash the fruit, rinsing away the dust of the field. Cool water beads on the deep red skins, making each fruit shine like polished stone. They load the cart carefully, packing every fruit so none will be hurt on the trip. A patient water buffalo waits in the harness, ready to pull the harvest down the mountain. The cart begins its slow, steady journey down the winding mountain road. From above, the cart looks small against the great green mountains it descends. At the village market, the farmer arrives with the first cart of the harvest. He sets up his small wooden stall, just as he has done for many quiet years. He arranges his pomegranates in careful rows, every fruit placed with quiet pride. Customers stop and stare, drawn by the deep red shine of his perfect mountain fruit. He cuts one open to show the bright red seeds inside, and a small crowd gathers. The ruby seeds spill out into a wooden bowl, glittering under the morning sun. A customer tastes one, and her face lights up with simple, surprised happiness. The bustling market hums around him, full of voices, colors, and the smell of fresh fruit. By afternoon, his stall is nearly empty, every fruit going home with a smiling face. He walks back up the mountain at sunset, his cart light, his heart heavy with peace. He arrives home at dusk, where warm lamplight already glows in the windows. In the kitchen, his wife prepares a simple meal using fresh pomegranate from the orchard. She lets the bright seeds fall into a wooden bowl, soft music in a quiet kitchen. The whole family gathers around the table for a celebration dinner. He raises a glass of fresh pomegranate juice, toasting another good year together. Later, his wife stirs a great pot of homemade pomegranate jam over a slow fire. The jam bubbles softly, deep red and sweet, filling the house with its scent. She fills small glass jars one by one, sealing the taste of the season for the cold months. On a sunny shelf, he lays out seeds to dry, saving them for the year to come. By candlelight, he opens his old journal and records the season and oppos, as joys and lessons. At dawn, he walks back to the orchard alone and kneels to plant a single new sapling. And as the sun rises high, the camera lifts, and the entire valley of red pomegranates glows below, a quiet legacy growing on the mountain forever.